Discussion about forward. We are going to discuss about the features, the other characteristics, the forward contract, the pricing of forward contracts, different assets, underlying assets, which are included under forward contracts, all this. So let's start with. So as you all know, the forward contract is a derivative instrument, and the basic nature of it is it's an agreement to buy or sell an underlying asset, sell an asset on a specified date for a specified price, and that specified price is called as delivery price. Okay, so it's an agreement. Normally there would be a involvement of, since it is an agreement, it is an agreement between two parties, right? One would be expecting that the price of the underlying asset is going to increase, and the second, the other party, the counterparty would be expecting that the price of the asset will be falling, and the party agreeing to buy is called as the party in long position, and the party who is agreeing to sell is called as the party to be in the short position. These are some of the terminologies which you have to be very sure with when we are discussing the derivative contracts. Okay, so I repeat, there is an agreement, and the agreement happens between two parties, right? And in this, one party expect that the asset price is going to increase. That's why that party takes up a long position or agree to buy an underlying asset at a specified price, that is delivery price. Okay, and the second party expects a fall in the price. That's why he became the counterparty to the contract, and the other party is called as a person taking up a short position. Okay, he is taking up a short position, he is selling the asset. And another thing which you have to understand is it happens on a specified date in future. That's why we call that as a future. No, it happens as a future instrument. I mean, future. It happens in a future date. That's why we call that as a forward contract. Okay, so that's the nature of a derivative instrument. All the derivative instruments we talk about future market, right? And of course, there are two prices involved, the spot prices and the delivery price. Okay, the spot price is the price at which the underlying asset is currently trading in the market. Say, for example, if the underlying asset is shares, the share of Infosys, what is the price at which this share is being traded in the stock market? That is actually the spot price. Then we have something called as delivery price. It is actually an agreed price. Agreed price to sell the asset, another party has agreed to buy the asset. So that price is not going to change. That's something which you have to understand. That price is not going to change based on the changes in the value of the underlying asset. And the change in the value of the underlying asset is the factor which enables the buyer, that is the person in the long position or in the short position, either one of them, not both. If the person in the long position benefit by increase in price, person in the short position benefit by fall in price, right? That is the one which enables the movement of underlying price in the underlying asset, enables the parties to make profit or incur loss. So this is the basic condition of this contract, which is same for all types of derivative contract, right? So the underlying asset, the value of the underlying asset will change, but the delivery price or the specified price for the derivative contract will not change as per the change in the value of the underlying asset. That's which enables the person in the long position or the short position to gain a return or maybe to incur huge loss. Right. Now, in this case, the buyer has agreed to purchase the asset, the underlying asset, at the specified price called the delivery price. and the seller has agreed to sell the underlying asset at the agreed price. That's a contract. Okay. Now, it's a customized contract. That's a primary difference between derivative in forward and other types of like future option and all. Here, this is an agreement that happens between the parties. There is no intermediary or no regulatory body who would be in charge of enforcement of this agreement. And that is the drawback, the greatest advantage as well as the greatest disadvantage or limitation of forward contract is that because there can be counterparty default. Because here there is no intermediary who is going to enforce that this has to happen. Or the other party, there is some kind of surety that is given to the other party. It's actually a personalized transaction that happen either between two financial institutions or maybe two individuals. That's why, since it is a customized one, since it happens between two private individuals, and since there are no intermediaries regulating the market, we call that as a non-standardized transaction. There are no prescribed standards, no prescribed rules and regulations, even though everything falls under the purview of the regulators. But it's not as it happens in the case of futures or options or as you call swap. It's a non-standardized one. And primarily this instrument, as all other derivative instrument, this instrument is also used for hedging or managing the risk that is associated with fluctuation in the price of the asset. That's what we do here also. It's actually a hedge instrument. It's an instrument used for hedging your risk. So these are the general features of a forward contract. So I just repeat that once more because you really have to understand this very clearly. The first one is a forward contract. It's actually an agreement between the two parties, either to buy or sell an underlying asset. The agreement to buy is called as long position and the agreement to sell is called as a short position. And the parties agreeing to undertake this trade agree at a specified price called delivery price. Okay, and they agree to delivery that on a specified future date. The change in the value of the underlying asset enable the person in the long position or in the short position to make profit or loss. The person in the long position expect an increase in the share price. That's why he has entered into a trade. The person in the short position has agreed to sell because he expects that the share price is going to fall. So there is actually a contradictory interest, okay, between the two parties who have entered into this trade. That's why we say that if one in the contract is making profit, that will be actually the loss that is incurred to the other person. Okay, so this is the introduction to a forward contract. Going further, when we look into the specific features of a forward contract, one is it's bilateral because there are two parties, one in the long position, another in the short position. And it is riskier than futures. Why? Because there is no intermediary, there is no regulated direct intervention of the regulators. It's actually a private transaction, private deed between two individuals for two financial institution. That's why it is riskier, and there is no concept of or no compulsory norm of something called as margin money or advance payment, booking the payment, or something like that, which we are going to discuss in detail when we discuss about futures. There is nothing like that. It is actually agreed upon the conditions laid down by both the parties. And another is, as I said, it's customized based on the need of the respective party. That is, there is no lot size. Because when you go into an option or futures, as we say, there is a lot size. You can buy or sell only according to that. And the market is very fluctuating, right? So there is transparency in the price movement of the market, all these things. But that does not happen with respect to forward contract. And of course, there is long position and short position. Long position, we talk about buying an instrument, and short position, we talk about selling an instrument. And the price the agreed price. In case of option or futures, we call that a strike price. The same is called as delivery price with respect to a forward contract. And the another limitation of a forward market is the absence of a secondary market. Secondary market means since it is happening between two parties, since there is no stock market or no other stock market, no secondary market in between these parties, that's supposed to be one of the drawback of forward market. So you are under an obligation either to perform or withdraw. And if you withdraw, you can lose the market for, or you can lose the opportunity for selling your product or buying an asset, right? Now, the working methodology with respect to the working in a futures market is, as we said, there is an agreement between two parties, right? They have customized, they have formulated the policies, the regulations, all that, and there is an agreement between these parties. And this agreement is to perform a transaction that can be either to buy an underlying asset or to sell an underlying asset. Now, at the time of settlement, as we call as performance of the contract, what happens here is settlement is done either by physical delivery of the assets or settlement by cash. Physical delivery of the asset in the sense, if you are talking about shares, buying or selling of shares, the physical delivery is actually transferring the ownership of shares to the concerned party. Okay, or if you're talking about a commodities market, it will be physical delivery of that product, maybe as we call rubber or pepper or gold or whatever it is, you're delivering it to the concerned party. That is what we call as settlement by physical delivery of assets. Now, the second one is settlement by cash. That's actually you are just looking into what is the difference. So, for example, if you had an increase in the price of the underlying asset, then the difference is the buyer is in the beneficiary zone, so the difference is paid to him. Why? Because the difference is settled to him. Whatever there is, the delivery price, there is no change in delivery price that is going to happen. So based on the delivery price, what is the difference that has happened because of the change in the value of asset that is settled between either of the two parties. Sometimes if the price went up, the buyer would be benefited and he would be settled with the difference in the delivery price and the spot price. Spot price at that time during the settlement time. And if there is a difference that has occurred because of falling in the value of the underlying asset, then definitely the difference is settled by paying the difference to the person who has taken the short position, that is the person who has agreed to sell in the market. And that too, it is based on delivery price and the spot market price. Spot market price on that future date when the scheme is exercised, when the agreement is exercised, right? So that is how it happens. That is, the difference is settled. Whatever difference has happened between the delivery price and the spot price on the future date, that will be paid to the person who has taken the long position or the short position. The person in the long position will benefit when there is an increase in share price. The person in the short position will benefit when there is a decrease in the share price. So that's how the working methodology of futures. And this is same for with respect to all the transaction where as we call as the futures or options or swap, right? Now we are going with classification of forward contracts. Classification of forward contracts can be broadly put under 4. A number of categories are there, but mainly we can put that under 4 categories. One is closed outright forward. Second one is flexible forward, long dated forward, and non-deliverable forward. In that non-deliverable forward is very easy for you to understand because the name indicates that you are just delivering the difference. As I said, during the settlement, only the cash difference. The difference in the delivery price and the spot price on that future day is paid between. You're not delivering the asset, only the difference is settled. So that's cash settlement. And then we'll go with the first part. Closed outright forward means exchange asset at a future date by locking in the delivery price. As per the delivery price, the party will deliver, the person in the short position will deliver the asset to the person in the long position. That is closed outright forward. Outright, you are just giving the asset. Then flexible forward, exchange the because you don't wait till the maturity, you have every opportunity to settle it before the maturity. That's actually part of your agreement. In your agreement, it is flexible enough if either the party wants it to settle, but it is a little confusing. They might have specified the date when and all it is possible, likewise, no? Otherwise, it would be confusing. But flexible contractors, you have the flexibility to settle it before the maturity date and exit from the contract. Then long dated forward is normally the forward instruments will be for 3 months, 1 month or 2 months. But if it is for more than a year, that will be called as long dated forward contract. Okay. If it is for more than 1 year, it will be called as long dated. So classification of forward, one is closed outright forward, where you are delivering the asset on the maturity date, on the settlement date. Flexible forward means you have the feasibility, you have the provisions in your agreement to settle it before the maturity date, the due date. Long dated is, it's actually an agreement having a maturity date of more than 1 year. Non-deliverable forward is, here you have to remember that it is cash settlement and not physical settlement. You are just exchanging the difference in the long and short position to any of the party and settling it. That's what we call as non-deliverable forward. Okay. Now moving forward, there are certain concepts which I already discussed, but I want you to be very sure. That's why I put that in vibrant colors, that you will remember all through, because that is very important for you to understand the pricing of forward contracts. Okay. Now the concept, the first one is spot price. Spot price is the current market price of the underlying asset. Say, for example, if today the value of Infosys is 6,250, that's the spot price for the asset. It's trading at 6,250. That's spot price. Now, spot price can be of two. One is spot price at the time of entry into the contract, spot price at the time of settlement of the contract. And that at the time of settlement of the contract is what we call as future spot price. Okay, that is what we call as future spot price. Then delivery price is the price agreed by both the party at the time of entry into the contract. There is no way of changing that price. That's the price based on which your loss or profit will be computed at the end. So you make a comparison between the delivery price and the spot price to understand, that is future spot price, to understand whether long position or short position has gained or no, and accordingly you settle it. So delivery price is an agreed price at the maturity. There is no change in that price based on the change in the value of the underlying asset. Forward price, it's nothing but delivery price. Now, how do we go with calculating forward price? This is actually the theoretical formula for computation of forward price. That is spot price plus carrying cost till maturity. See, if it is a physical asset, you might be looking into the carrying cost is cost of warehousing or cost of other facilities, transportation cost, or some other miscellaneous cost that can affect the final price of the asset. All will be considered along with the spot price. Spot price is the asset or the value of asset on that day. Correct. So forward price, the formula is spot price plus carrying cost, carrying the asset till the date of maturity in a future contract or in a forward contract. Okay, so here in this case it is forward contract. So spot price plus carrying the asset till maturity till the due date of the contract, that is carrying cost, minus carry income. Suppose if at all you have a possibility of earning an income during that day. Say for example, in case of shares, sometimes you can gain with dividend declared during that period. You are the owner, you can take it. So that is why you reduce that carry income. If you have purchased a right, then automatically you can exercise that on the date of maturity, and that exercising on that maturity date depends upon your other costs, all the costs associated with carrying the asset till that day. So that's why the theoretical forward price is spot price plus carrying cost minus any carrying income. If you can gain some income, that's what we call as the carrying income. So this is the theoretical price. And why theoretical price is important is the forward market will open up for arbitrage opportunities if there is a difference between the theoretical price and actual price, because there is an opportunity for taking the benefit of speculation. Say suppose if the spot price of forward contract is higher than the theoretical price. Okay, it is higher than the theoretical price means then there is actually a possibility of fall in the forward price. And if the spot price is less than, if the theoretical forward price is less than the actual forward price, the delivery price, then there is a scope for increase in the forward price in future. So there is the arbitrageurs will go for buying that, because future it can increase up to the theoretical price based on frequent buying and selling. So that's where we call about forward, the relevance of theoretical price of forward contract. Okay, so the theoretical price of forward contract is computed as spot price plus carry cost minus if you have any possibility of gaining income during the period of your agreement, right? That's forward price. So I hope the concept is clear. Now, moving forward, we will talk about different types of forward contracts. And primarily what you have to understand is it is based on the underlying asset. So currency forward contract, quickly we can understand that the underlying asset is currency. So that's a contract for buying and selling of a foreign currency on a future date for an exchange rate that is fixed at the time of entering into contract. Maybe you want to purchase dollar or you want to purchase yen, euro. It depends upon your condition. Or maybe you want to hedge against the fluctuation in rupee. So you can go with a contract for forward contract for buying of rupee at a specified rate. See, in this case, it can be based on your position. Suppose if you are an importer, you know that on a future date, you have to make the payment on a foreign currency, maybe in dollar. So you want to hedge against the fluctuation in the dollar price. So what do? You enter into a forward contract with another person who is agreeing to enter into a contract for the sale of dollar in future. And another person who is agreeing to enter into a contract with you for sale of dollar is expecting a fall in the dollar price. And you, why do you enter into a contract with a party? Because you fear against the price rise with respect to dollar. Because you know that in future, you need dollar to make payments to your clients. So in order to protect against the rise in dollar price or appreciation in dollar against rupee, what you will do is you will enter into a contract. When that is happening between two individuals, that we call as a currency forward contracts, right? Now, interest rate forward, it is more or less same, but the underlying asset would be interest, which can be related with a particular category of deposits, or it can be associated with your loan. Normally, this happens between financial institutions depending upon their expectation regarding the future interest rate movements. Maybe you have given, as you can say, you are given loan to your customers and you expect that the future interest rate can decrease. In that case, you can enter into a contract with another bank, another financial institution, which is having an opposite expectation. So that's actually the underlying asset as interest rate fluctuation, which can be connected with your deposit as well as your loan. Any. It can be in both the cases. So that's what we call as interest rate forwards. Okay. Now, this is a concept which is very commonly used with respect to currency forward when it happens between two financial institutions. Rollover contracts, it's maybe on the maturity date, you incur a huge loss. And no huge loss, or maybe that there is no much profit or gain for both the parties, not much difference. In that case, sometimes there can be agreement to roll over, to continue with this contract to future, keeping all the conditions, keeping all the agreed conditions. That is actually called as rolling over currency forward. You are moving it forward, you're continuing the agreement, you're extending the maturity date, keeping all the conditions. That's what we call as rolling over currency forward to a subsequent period, to another period, maybe for another 3 months, maybe for one more month, depends on the condition. So when you are extending that, that's what we call as rolling over currency forward. Right? Now we are going on to the next topic. This I had already mentioned when I was talking about the theoretical price of a forward contract. Actually, arbitrage opportunity appears when actual forward rate is different from the theoretical value. That's what. Theoretical value, we know how it is computed. It is the spot price plus your carrying cost, and you reduce if you have some carrying income. But sometimes, because of the demand and availability in the market, the actual price of a forward contract can be different from the theoretical price. There is actually the arbitrage opportunity. The arbitrageurs, they take the benefit out of such condition. Now, how do they take the benefit? Normally, what do they do is they identify whether the forward contract is overpriced or underpriced. If it is overpriced, they will take up a short position, and if it is underpriced, they will take up a long position. Because underpriced means there is every possibility that it will come up to the theoretical value. If it is overpriced, again, there is every possibility that it will come down to the. So there is actually a leveling that is going to happen based on the theoretical price of the forward contract. So that is what we call as the presence of arbitrage opportunity in a forward market. Okay, right. Then these are the areas which we are going to discuss in tomorrow's class, that is theories for determination of forward prices and pricing methodologies for forward contract. These are the two areas. So you may just look up and just familiarize yourself with those, because when you hear it for the first time, it may be pretty difficult for you to follow that at a stretch. So that's why just read it, just have a preliminary understanding before we start our class. Now, to summarize our today's class, we actually started with discussing about what is a forward contract and what are the key features, and also we discussed about types and the advantages and major disadvantages, and also we spoke about the type of settlement, right? We spoke about physical and cash settlement. Last, we talked about the arbitrage opportunities in a forward market. So a forward as such is a derivative instrument. A forward contract is a derivative instrument where there is an agreement that happens between two parties. Yeah, one take up the long position, that is agreement to buy an underlying asset, and the other take up a short position, an agreement to sell an asset. And now the settlement is based on the future spot price of the asset as well as the delivery price, which is fixed at the time of entry into the agreement. And the settlement can happen in two ways. One is either you can deliver the physical asset, close your trade, or the second one is you can settle the differences between the delivery price and the future spot price. The spot price on the day of settlement, either by paying off to the party who has taken up the long position or paying off the party depending on the condition. Paying off the party who have taken the short position. That's called as cash settlement. Now, the party who has taken up long position will be gaining in a contract when the share price increase or when the price of the underlying asset increase. And the party who has taken a short position is going to benefit when the underlying asset has taken a fall in its price, right? We also talked about different categories of forward contracts, which is based on the type of underlying asset. We talked about currency forward, where the underlying asset would be currency. We talked about commodity forward, where the underlying asset would be commodities, any type of commodities, and also interest rate forward, where the underlying asset would be the interest, different types of interest rate that is applicable to different financial institutions with respect to their deposits or maybe their loan, which they have already given to their customers. So the underlying assets can be in the nature of a physical asset or in the nature of a financial asset, right? And another thing which you have to remember about an forward, which primarily distinguishes it from other type of derivative instrument, is it happens out of a standardized or a regular market. It is actually a private agreement that happens between two individuals or two financial institutions or two corporate bodies. Right? So it is customized towards the need of the parties who entered into the contract. As such, there is no intermediary who is regulating or assuring the conduct of the agreement. As such, there is a risk of counterparty default, which is considered to be the greatest drawback of one of the drawback of forward contract. The second disadvantage is the absence of a secondary market, full-fledged secondary market. At times, when there is no flexible contract agreement, the party has to wait till the due date for the settlement of the transaction and to exit out of the contract. So that is another drawback of a forward contract, right? Okay, that's it. We will continue with the pricing methodology and also the theories which are related with the pricing of forward in our next class. Now, if you would like to ask some questions which is in connection with what we have been discussing in our today's class, you may do it now. Or else I will give you 5 minutes. You can summarize it